And I want you to think of a kid that you love. And I want you to think of the wonderful things that they do and why you love them. Now I want you to think of all the terrible things that they do that drive you absolutely nuts. And while you might love them, you absolutely do not like them. But what happens when you love that kid? When you love that kid, you back them and you don't give up on them and you hold them close and you tell them, you're not getting away from me because I am here to help you be the best person you can be. Now, what happens to kids that are vulnerable is sometimes they don't have people who will back them. They don't have people who will hug them and hold them and tell them, I don't care what you do, I still love you. Now, the government recognised that actually this was a problem, and they actually developed a report called the Expert Advisory Report. It's a government document that mentions love over 120 times. And that's actually really important, because if you look at any child, the difference that's made in that child's life is that they had love from somebody. It's often not money, it's actually love, it's commitment, it's confidence, it's trust. It's what one of the speakers said on the video. We are the answers for our children, and I want to be their superhero. There was a study done in Otago. It's a very famous study called the Dunedin study. It's followed a range of people over years and years and years. 20% of those people are the most vulnerable people in the cohort, and they need a significant amount of help from the government. They tend to have poor outcomes in terms of going to jail, having drugs, mental health problems. Of the 20% in that study who are the most vulnerable, 82% of them have no fathers. Now, I had a little cousin. My little cousin had no father. I remember she came to our house. She was 2.5, and she sat under our dining room table and used swear words that actually I probably didn't learn until I was about 18. So she screamed and she yelled and she kicked, and she was an absolute nightmare. What she had is she had no father, she had no role model, and actually what was very lovely was that she was desperately trying to get close to my father. And what was really lovely is actually, even though I was only about 7, I knew that I had something really special that she didn't have. Now, very fortunately, a few years later, my aunt actually did meet a lovely man who embraced that child, and that child is now a fully grown adult with a family of her own and a real contributor to society. But if she had not had that male role model, her life would have been very different. So, as I'm speaking to a large group of men, the best thing that you know that you can do to help me is that you can actually love the children that you meet in your families and in your communities. And I would like to ask you to look out for those children that don't seem to be very likeable. Because a child is only not likeable because it's trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you it's not happy. It's trying to tell you that something is wrong. That something is wrong and they don't understand it. And another interesting experience that our family had when we were younger is I brought a friend home. I brought a friend home from school, and they stayed for the weekend. And much to the shock of my family, my friend said to our family, "Is this normal?" And we said, "What do you mean, is this normal?" She goes, "You all get on so well. You all seem to like each other. You don't shout at each other, you don't scream at each other, and you don't hit each other." And that was a real moment for us, because we realised that that child had a very different life. But if we had never invited that child into our house, that child may never have told anybody. And that child now is a significant marketeer in London and can buy and sell the vast majority of us. But that was because one day, she saw something different. And that's the opportunity that you have. And I'm here as a public servant to help you with that opportunity in whatever way I can. And I think one way that we can do it together is we can tell the stories of success. I'm sure you'll find the next 24 hours of this conference to be really exciting and life-changing. I mean, it's a fantastic initiative that has so much potential. And what I just ask is that you remember those kids that you love, look out for those kids that have no love, and stand up for them and say something and back kids when the going gets tough. So thank you very much.